Money Talk.
This is Akashvani. In the program Money Talk, now we bring you a discussion on GST Budget Utsav, benefits for farmers. The participants are Jayanto Chaudhary, Economic Analyst, and Rajesh, Laikh, Anchor.
Hello and welcome to Money Talk. In today's session, we will discuss next-gen GST reforms for farmers and the agriculture sector. The Goods and Services Tax has transformed the tax landscape in India, but its impact on agriculture, a sector involving over half the country's workforce, remains deeply significant. As we explore the upcoming reforms, we will discuss how taxation structures can become more farmer-friendly, streamline agricultural trade, and ensure inclusive growth across the rural economy. Here's a detailed report from our correspondent.
The recent revision of goods and services tax rates marks a major transformation for the country's agriculture and dairy sectors. Farmers, agricultural workers, dairy producers and livestock owners are set to benefit directly from the new structure, which reduces costs across a wide range of essential inputs and equipment. The most significant impact will be felt by small and medium farmers, with GST on tractors below 1800cc reduced to 5% and tractor parts such as tires, tubes and hydraulic pumps also brought down from 18% to 5%. The cost of mechanization will reduce considerably. Machinery like sprinklers, drip irrigation systems, harvesting equipments, threshers, compost machines and power tillers now attract just 5% GST instead of 12%. For example, a tractor of 35 horsepower that earlier cost around 6,50,000 rupees with 12% GST will now cost about 6,09,000 rupees under the new rates, bringing savings of 41,000 rupees. Similarly, a 50 horsepower tractor that earlier cost about 8,50,000 rupees will now cost approximately 7,97,000 rupees, saving farmers 53,000 rupees. A harvester combined with a 14-foot cutter bar will now be cheaper by 1,87,500 rupees. Equipment like power weeders, paddy transplanters, multi-crop threshers, trailers, seed drills, super seeders, straw reapers, rotavators, mulchers, balers, sprayers and pneumatic planters have all become significantly more affordable with the reduced GST rates. In fertilizers, GST on ammonia, sulfuric acid and nitric acid has been reduced from 18% to 5%, correcting the inverted duty structure and lowering cost for farmers. In pesticides, the GST cut from 12% to 5% on biopesticides and micronutrients will promote a shift towards eco-friendly farming, improving soil health and encouraging organic practices. Small organic farmers and farmer producer organizations will benefit directly under government programs that promote natural farming. The reduction also covers fruits, vegetables and food processing. Prepared and preserved vegetables, fruits and nuts now attract only 5% GST instead of 12%. This will strengthen cold storage facilities, boost food processing and reduce wastage of perishables. Farmers are expected to receive better prices while India's processed food exports gain competitiveness in international markets. The dairy sectors will see immediate benefits, with milk and cheese now completely exempt from GST. Products like butter and ghee will attract only 5% GST instead of 12%, making dairy products more affordable while boosting farmers' earnings. Milk cans made of iron, steel or aluminium also now attract 5% GST instead of 12%. These changes will support indigenous dairy products and make the sector more competitive. In aquaculture, GST on prepared or preserved fish has been reduced from 12% to 5%, encouraging fish farming across the country. Beekeepers and rural self-help groups engaged in honey production will also benefit, as GST on natural honey has been lowered and artificial honey has seen a sharp cut from 18% to 5%. Solar power agricultural equipment has also become cheaper with GST cut from 12% to 5%. This will bring down the cost of solar irrigation pumps and devices, lowering input costs for farmers and making agriculture more sustainable. The reforms extend to tribal livelihoods as well, with GST on Tendu leaves reduced from 18% to 5%. This will directly support communities in states like Odisha, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, where the Tendu leaves form a major source of income. Overall, the GST rationalization is farmer-friendly, pro-rural and supportive of sustainable agriculture. It reduces the cost of farming, promotes mechanization, encourages eco-friendly practices, boosts cold storage and food processing, and strengthens allied activities such as dairy, aquaculture and beekeeping. By lowering input costs and improving productivity, the reforms will increase farmers' profit and make Indian agricultural products more competitive in domestic and international markets. These changes will also strengthen food security and move the nation closer to the goal of self-reliance in agriculture and food production.
To shed light on these critical issues, we are joined today by Jayanto Chaudhary, Economic Analyst. A warm welcome, Jayanto.
Thank you.
Jayanto, how would you describe current GST framework's impact on farmers and the broader agriculture sector?
I think the GST rewrite has been an excellent thing for farmers in general. The way fertilizer GST has been reduced from 18 to 5%, biopesticides from 12 to 5% again. Then the entire range of farm machinery from tractors, sprinklers, drip irrigation machinery down to 5% again from 12 to 18%. Now, this is a big deal because the input cost for agriculture has substantially come down as a result of this GST modification. For instance, a tractor which would cost about 10 lakhs sometimes back would now cost about 9 lakhs. Something which was worth 5 would now cost about 4.35 or 4.45 right now. So that's really something which is good for us, which is really good for the farming sector as a whole. This is as far as the input costs are concerned. The other side of the picture is, of course, the pricing on the final product. Dairy and processed foods, that is, ghee, butter, frozen vegetables, etc. That has again been reduced from something like 12% to 5%. Now, that's good news again for the farmer. Partly, you have to understand that these will help farmers and farm groups lower their input costs on one side. On the other hand, whenever you have lower costs, you have lower prices, which should lift demand and overall profits. Of course, that is dependent on markets not being imperfect. If market imperfections remain, if you have too many middlemen, then you have a problem. But otherwise, the GST is a welcome step. The way it has been structured is very good. Yes, there are more steps which can be taken, but till now, whatever has happened is good news for the farmers.
Okay, let's listen to what the Prime Minister had to say for farmers and the agriculture sector.
साथियों, एग्रीकल्चर हमारी इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसी के सेंटर पे है. हमारे यहाँ करीब 90% परिवार ऐसे हैं जिनके पास बहुत कम जमीन है. ये छोटे किसान ही भारत की फूड सिक्योरिटी की सबसे बड़ी ताकत है. यही स्थिति एशिया के कई विकासशील देशों में है. इसलिए भारत का मॉडल कई देशों के काम आ सकता है. जैसे एक उदाहरण के लिए सस्टेनेबल फार्मिंग का. भारत में हम बड़े पैमाने पर केमिकल फ्री नेचुरल फार्मिंग को प्रमोट कर रहे हैं. इसके काफी अच्छे रिजल्ट देखने को मिले हैं. इस साल के बजट में भी बहुत बड़ा फोकस सस्टेनेबल फार्मिंग और क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट फार्मिंग पर है. हम अपने किसानों को सपोर्ट करने के लिए एक पूरा इकोसिस्टम डेवलप कर रहे हैं. भारत का बहुत जोर क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट क्रॉप से जुड़ी रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट पर है. बीते 10 सालों में हमने करीब 1900 नई क्लाइमेट रेजिलिएंट वैरायटी अपने किसानों को दी है. इसका लाभ भारत के किसानों को भी मिल रहा है.
Does this structure, Jayanto, adequately support the farmers, or does it need reconsideration from your point of view?
No, there are few things which can be considered. Chemical fertilizers still are being taxed at 18%. I can understand there would probably be also the thought that chemical fertilizers should be discouraged and you should get other kinds of fertilizers. But you need to think about it twice, because you cannot suddenly take away farmers from what they were using all this time. So that is one area. The other area is cold storage and warehousing. Now, the GST rates on these areas remain reasonably high. So we have to think about it, because if you want to encourage farmers to produce not for the day, but for the longer run, then you have to use cold storage and obviously warehousing facilities too. We are trying to encourage farmer groups to get together and set up their own cold storages, their own warehousing, or at least rent it on a community basis, so that you can keep your stuff and you can sell it in the next season when you get better returns from it. But overall, I would say the thrust of this move has been excellent.
Yes.
The other thing is a question of wider agricultural reform. We have to reduce the number of middlemen in the agricultural market sector. Farmers will continue to grow potatoes from which they will get 50 to 1 rupee a kilo, while it will retail at far higher rates in the cities.
So how can, Jayanto, these reforms help small and marginal farmers who often function within informal market networks?
Yeah, so two things. One, of course, is we have to revive and rebuild farmer cooperative movement. The farmer cooperative movement is extremely necessary for the small and medium farmers, so that the benefits of GST really get to them. Even input costs, they may not be able to get it. Try to buy from the retail market, they may not get the benefits that they were trying to get. And they certainly don't use tractors, sprinklers, irrigation, all these kind of new machinery that we are talking about. So they have to get to use it. If they want to use it, they have to either rent it or buy it through their cooperatives or other farmer groups that you can set up. So that is where the reform is really needed. If you want, GST is an enabling move. It is a great move. But to make it available to the small man, you have to reform the way farming is done, the way farmers are able to access markets, etc. Again, the farmer groups, the cooperatives, and the cutting out of the middlemen, the aartiyas, so-called aartiyas, would ensure that these farmers are able to get the price that they should be getting in the formal market, whether it is sales through chains, whether it is sales through the ordinary markets that we have. But to be able to get there, you need to be together. Otherwise, one small farmer will not be able to get the money that he ideally should be getting for his bhindis. It's all good to say that, prices have gone up, potato prices have gone up, wheat prices have gone up. But what is it that our farmer is getting? That is the more important point. So GST is an enabler. It's a step in the right direction. I would not just call it a step. I would call it a huge move towards the right direction. But to really reach the farmers, really reach the small man, the last man standing, we have to again go in for structural changes in the way farming is done in India and in the way farm produce is brought to the markets in India.
From what you just mentioned comes my next question about how rationalizing GST rates across agri-inputs like fertilizers, pesticides and farm machinery enhance efficiency and farmer adoption of modern practices.
Well, it does. If you reduce the rate from 18 to 5%, it makes your product the input cost much, much lower. Now, that helps the farmers. It also encourages him to move towards a certain kind of fertilizer and a certain kind of pesticide, which is less harmful for the soil. So that is good news. It does really, really help him. And tractors, as of date, is widely used in India. Yes, marginal farmers are obviously unable to use tractors, but they probably rent tillers. They don't even own tillers of their own. There are these electric trailers which you can, or even diesel-generated tillers which you can use. So that is a great point. These GST reductions will certainly help farmers. One cannot deny it. The farming sector is going to see lower input costs, which automatically means profits for them. Unless and until prices suddenly slump, you will find farmers are going away with more money in their pockets because of these GST cuts.
On that note, Jayanto Roy Chaudhary, we would like to thank you for sharing such valuable insights on the future of GST in relation to the agricultural sector. Thank you for being with Akashvani.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on GST Bachat Utsav, benefits for farmers. The participants were Jayanto Roy Chaudhary, Economic Analyst, and Rajesh Laikh, Anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani.
Money Talk